Able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
very good.
Okay.
yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. Very, very good evening. Thank you for the response and thank you for coming. Thank you, Srinivas Garu, Murthy Garu. And I expected two more. Ashokan sir probably is busy, and I tried two more friends of mine said they'll be joining, but I don't know. I sent them a reminder also this morning. We'll start.
Okay.
Why is my cursor not moving? Yeah. Very good evening. Yeah, this is the second session, and I'll just give a recap of what we discussed last week. I just informed that philosophy and emotional intelligence are my bailiwick, and hence I started this with full earnestness. And most of my books are basically philosophical oriented. And I also talked about the art of waking up to happiness and how some of my episodes are being read by a priest in the Philippines. And we also saw that philosophy is based on simple mundane activities. I'll have to bring down the screen a bit as it is blocking my. Uh, Mundane activities which we can see if we keep our eyes and ears open. I also mentioned that subtle difference between sight and vision, and gave you an example of the numbers 6 and 9, and also told you about how the mind tries to correlate, and told about my book, The Mind Reality Connection. And we also went to the root of the word philosophy, which means philos, Greek word meaning love, and Sophia meaning wisdom. So philosophy literally means the love of wisdom. So today we'll be going a bit ahead. I also talked about, did you know that philosophy begins with wonder? And today is a day where we have a lot of things to wonder. Today is, first of all, the new moon day. There is a solar eclipse, which is unfortunately not visible in India, but it is visible mainly in European countries, and they get up to 92 to 98% visibility out there. And one more thing is, if we are fortunate enough and if we see the clear sky late in the night after 10:30, 11, we can see a lot of meteor showers, which will be flowing in intervals of an hour each. That's what I understand. So we also discussed about the meteor showers, uh, the Newton fall, and how it led to the gravitation. I also discussed about the 7 Ws. Asking questions will make us more creative and make us more inquisitive. The 7 Ws are who, what, when, where, why, for whom, and for what. Then I also told that the philosophical thinking begins with curiosity, the questioning, and the reflection. And told that philosophy is not an abstract subject but a scholarly pursuit, but as a natural human activity woven in our daily intricacies of life. Philosophical thinking mainly begins with the curiosity of why and how, and it starts in the questioning of reflection. Philosophy is also present as a habit of the mind, a gentle inquiry that transforms routine living into mindful engagement. This also we discussed last time. Philosophy is not a distant or difficult subject, it is ready, alive in our day to day course, be it in the kitchen, the coffee, etc. And observations are waiting to be noticed. So today we'll be discussing about overview of the Vedic literature, the Vedas, the Brahmanas, the Aranyakas, and of course Upanishads will not be taking today because it will be too much. We'll be stopping with Aranyakas today, and I'll be giving a gentle introduction of the Vedic tradition, the Vedic literature. I'll be giving a brief of all these four in between, and then before going into the detail, the Vedic literature forms the spiritual, philosophical foundation of Indian civilization. You know, these Vedic aspects commenced way back in 1500 to 500 BCE before Christ. And it is not a single text, but a vast corpus of several rishis and sages who have compiled all these literature over time and have been modified just like our various amendments. Good evening, Rajendra ji. Yeah. Yeah, please.
Good evening.
Yeah, Jain sir, please mute yourself. I'll. Yeah. So we'll also be talking about the four Vedas. Of course, you all know about the four Vedas. You know the basics from the school days itself, the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. And I don't know whether I'm competent enough to talk about all these details because it is so scholarly, so deep, and I don't have the guidance of any particular formal guru. Whatever I have learned is only through my own, and I'll try to part with the knowledge whatever I have learned with this august audience. The Rig Veda, the oldest hymns to natural forces. Yes. Yeah, good evening, Sridharan. Yeah. Oldest hymns to natural forces, gods, and cosmic principles. Then we have the Yajurveda, the ritual instructions for sacrifices and ceremonies. The Samaveda, which are melodic chants, basis of Indian classical music, and the Atharva Veda, which spells charms and gives practical knowledge about who, what, when, where, and why. And we'll be talking a little about the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are nothing but the prose texts explaining the rituals and ceremonies described in the Vedas. We'll have a little which have an emphasis on the sacrifice or the yajna and the exact procedure for carrying out these. These are more of the Sanatana Dharma as such. And I'll also try to bring out the correlation between other religions wherever applicable. And it explores the meaning behind rituals and symbolism. Example, the Shatapada Brahmana, which is related to the Yajurveda, which I'll be coming in a few minutes later. The next is also, we'll be talking about the Aranyakas or the forest treaties or the rituals or the bridges between the rituals and the philosophy. These are basically intended for hermits. See, in our life, we have few stages in our life, which are called the Bala, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Dhanaprastha, and the Sannyasa. And in Hindu mythology, it is at the Sannyasa stage that we start living in the forestries or the trees to understand and reach the ultimate goal of Aham Brahmasmi stage, which has been talked about in Sanskrit. This is intended mainly for hermits or forest dwellers seeking deeper meaning of the self. We move away from external rituals and it totally goes to the internal reflection. They are often appended brahmanas, which are more significant, and I'll explain when we come to that in a bit more detail. The Vedic tradition, we'll be talking about the Vedic tradition, which is a part of the fundamentals. The Vedic tradition, sorry, it will be a bit elongated, but I thought this will be a prelude to what exactly are the details of various transformations. The Vedic tradition represents the most enduring foundation of Indians' philosophical life. It is emerging more than 1500 BCs in Vedic texts and mainly composed in the form of hymns in Sanskrit. For it has a vast, intricate body of literature that shaped the culture, values, ethos, and gives a world view of not only the Indian subcontinent but also the modern world. You'll be surprised to know that even foreigners like Germans, Swedish, Netherlands, Russians are all interested in knowing the intricacies of these Vedic details and have started learning Sanskrit, and there are specific Sanskrit schools in these areas to inculcate the knowledge of the Vedic details. The Vedic tradition also introduced a rich spiritual framework centered on ritual sacred sound. That is, the hymn. The Hubble telescope is known to have heard the hymn of the reverberating sound of Om, which I'll be talking about soon. The sacred sound and the relationship between human life and the cosmic order. See, everything is so systematic, we are not able to see the order, the systematic equations with which they are formed. Later, we do find in the texts about Copernicus and Kepler's laws of various motions and orbits, which is very, very sort of the tip of the iceberg of the knowledge which we have. The deeper we go into these Vedas, we'll find vast vistas of knowledge which is still awaiting to be tapped. Unfortunately, most of these Vedas are only from hearsay details, and very few have been written down in palm leaves and been transcripted and sent down for us to follow. The Vedas are not just religious texts; they are guides. They are guides for how people understood our own duty, the karmanyavadi, the society of the natural world. Have we still understood cosmos or the Brahmand, in which the original theory of the Big Bang was formed? We call it as Big Bang. We call it as uh, opening of the inward eye of Lord Shiva, with which the cosmos was formed. There are various theories, various things, but the exact details is not known even today. Through hymns, chants, and ceremonies, one thing we know is there is total order and no chaos in what is happening. Through hymns, chants, and ceremonies, Vedic thinkers sought harmony between the individual and the cosmos, the community, and the universe, thus making this as a traditional influence in shaping the Indian thought. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yeah. Over time, Vedic tradition evolved into a broader philosophical legacy that inspired later schools of Indian thought, which lead to dharma, karma, and moksha, which are many epics which follow, like the Ramayana and Mahabharata, talk about all these things in detail, wherein we know the morals. We have learnt about these epics, where we get a lot of information about all these. Even today, the Vedic heritage continues to influence spiritual practices, literature, ethics, and cultural identity across our country and beyond into the world. At the heart of Vedic literature, there are four basic Vedas. We all know that: Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva. These texts consists of hymns, prayers, and philosophical inquiries, all crafted to explore the mysteries of not only the humanity's role in it, but also the entire cosmos, or the Brahmand, which we call it. So it is really a miracle, a mystery to understand and to know the very fact of our existence. Even this today's solar eclipse, which we are seeing, earlier they used to say about the Rahu and the Ketu and the role of these two, but now we understand, based on the theory of light and all these things, we understand that details of eclipses and how they are formed, and we are able to calculate even the timings with which they occur. Whereas in those days, they predicted all these much in advance in the form of an almanac which they prepare in various shastras, with which they had calculated very precisely the exact moment and all these things. It's really a miracle, and to know how they did it without those calculators and without those basic amenities. The Vedic sages, also known as rishis, perceived the universe as a harmonious whole wherein everything was governed by a universal order. This order was called Rita in Sanskrit, or in other words, it's called the rhythm, which we call in the modern days. The order is so beautiful and symmetric and cyclic. It's really a wonder if we appreciate it in today's aspect. Though we still do not know the various sinusoidal patterns in which these eclipses, I mean, these cosmos moves in and around and causes the 12 different zodiac signs and all these constellations, how they are correlated with each and everyone's life. And all these things are really a very, very deep subject, which is all reflected and available in the Vedas. Through the recitation of these hymns and the performance of elaborate rituals, they sought to align human actions with this cosmic order, promoting mutual harmony among one of us, among another, and both the individual as well as the collective level. Now, in this aspect, I have tried to prepare a book which is known as the Cosmic Games and the Philosophical Musings in my own wordings with a simple language and in a dialogue form. And this book will be entertaining as well as based on daily happenings in and around us in a dialogue pattern with two characters, Bhaskar and Girija. Of late, I started with Swami and Lata. the same thing. The significance of the Vedic tradition goes beyond mere ritual. Over time, the focus shifted from the external ceremonies to deeper philosophical questions. The questions about the nature itself. Why is this happening? Why is this thing? And we get a consciousness and of course about the self. Or there is a talk about the awakening of the Kundalini or the Kutashta Chaitanya, how to involve and raise above the natural level to be uh, to attain what we are supposed to attain, the ultimate moksha. The evolution laid the groundwork for later philosophers or different Indian philosophies such as the Vedanta, the Yoga, and the Samkhya. Concepts like karma, dharma, and moksha, or action, its consequences, dharma, the righteousness, and liberation. All these are available in all the religions. Um these are first articulated in the Vedas and refined later in texts, and they continue to influence the Indian thought and, of course, the spirituality. In this basis, I also have another book called the Dharma, Drama, and Daily Life. This is how I try to correlate my sync with consciousness, with life and philosophy, and that's why I said philosophy and emotional intelligence are my bailiwick. In essence, the Vedic tradition is not just a historical artifact, but a living stream of wisdom. It teaches, it goes on teaching, encourages the self inquiry. Who am I? What for am I here? The seven W's which we integrate from the last lecture. Well, if we keep on asking all these, there is a quest for the truth. And ultimately, you will get to the knowledge of Tat Tvam Asi, or thou art that, which is the seeker's beacon for the ultimate journey within. These are all available in both in ancient times and in today. So now we come to the four Vedas. Again, I say I'm not competent enough to talk in deep about the Rig Veda because it is so vast. As I told you, it has about 1028 verses in Sanskrit, and the Rig Veda is supposed to be the oldest and one of the most important sacred texts in the Vedic tradition. Composed in Sanskrit, it is a collection of hymns dedicated to the various deities. Yesterday I talked about the Panchabhutas of earth, water, fire, sky, and all these. So these are the hymns which are dedicated to the various deities such as Agni, Indra, Varuna, and Soma in the Rig Veda. These hymns reflect the religious beliefs that social life and the worldview of the people of ancient India, and how we started worshipping the idol worship, and literally the fear of the earlier sight of these, the origin and all, where the quest of questioning how they have been formed and things like that. So we started praying these, and all these are beautifully depicted in various hymns in the Rig Veda. The text consists of 1028 hymns. Earlier it was only 1024, which works out to 2 power 10, and then later added by different rishis. And these 1028 hymns are arranged in 10 different books called the mandalas. I presume all of you would have heard or watched the famous Harati at the Ganga at Haridwar or Rishikesh or Varanasi for that matter. All these evening Arati or these famous rivers talk about invocation of all the mandalas. They call it the Nakshatra Mandala or Tara Mandala or the Surya Mandala, Chandra Mandala, and all those things. And it also talks about the various constellations. If you know Sanskrit and could follow all these Arati's wordings, it is really a beauty of invoking the 12 mandalas. So it is not written as a single book by any one single author, but it is gradually composed by several rishis as they came across and express a deeper, refined view of what was given earlier. These hymns were originally preserved through oral tradition, and as always, a communication gap over ages, and whatever remains has been extracted, and the exact sound and rhythm, or whatever is available, is transformed and transferred hereditarily through ages. And this is how we have the script of the Vedas, which is still the pioneer, the foundation of all modern science and technology and uh, every invention. All these are mentioned. In fact, if you are a reciter of the Hanuman Chalisa, you will know that the distance from the earth to the sun in Hanuman jumping to get catch the sun is exactly calculated and recited in the Hanuman Chalisa wordings. So precise is these that everything is so beautiful, so calculative, so rhythmic, and very well planned ages before and meticulously scripted. So imagine the knowledge our peers or superiors had, more to the rishis, to all the saints who brought out all these for the benefit of mankind. The Rig Veda is significant not only for its religious value but also for its contribution to Indian philosophy, the poetic form, and the language. It also has a lot of wordings about the grammar, the exact way of pronunciation, and the recitation. In fact, the Vedas and even the Gayatri Japa, which is known to all of us, is recited in a 24 syllable rhythmic manner so that it goes on reverberating and invoking the spirits within and takes you to an entirely different world as you go on chanting them. It contains early ideas about creation, the cosmic order, the truth, and the relationship between humans and the divine. In fact, as a bio and chemistry student, as a person who knows the structure of the DNA, the structure of the DNA, the double helical structure which it is supposed to be. If you see the cosmos and the cosmic movement, they are also supposed to be intertwined in a helical structure and moving in the Brahmand. So this is only a tip of the knowledge which we have as such in the theoretical literal sense. One of the famous verses from the Rig Veda is Ekam Sata Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti, which means truth is one. Truth is the wise. The wise call it by many names. It is just like the other day I said, what is there in a name? A rose will smell the same by call it by any other. So truth is one, and that is what is to be understood, and that is the root of the Rig Veda, which is given in this particular verse. The verse beautifully captures the inclusive and philosophical spirit of Rig Veda, showing that the tradition valued both spiritual unity and diversity of thought. There's one more one more hymn which I'd like to uh, explain in Sanskrit. Sangachvam swadhantvam savo manasim cha janatham. If you know the meaning, it is moving together, speaking together. Let your minds be united. So with unity,
I would love to
yeah, please.
recite this.
Yeah.
Sangachadvam samvadadvam samgomanasi janatam.
Yeah.
Verses are like this.
Wow, thank you.
Samano mantra samiti samani samanamastu vo mano yathavah susahasati sangachadvam samvadadvam samgomanasi Janatan.
Thank you, Murti Garu. Thank you, Murti Garu.
With very noble meaning in it.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So it basically means moving together, speaking together, and let your minds be united together. That is the crux of this. The other day I talked about the Ubuntu principle in South Africa. How many of you know about the Ubuntu principle? I'll tell you a story also about this Ubuntu principle. There was a South African country where Britishers came to rule South Africa in the earlier days. The wives of the Britishers taught the children of that area, local children, and basic language about English, and they started spreading about language. In that, one lady teacher brought a bag full of chocolates and said, "This chocolate belongs to the kids. Whoever goes and touches a tree which is 50 meters apart and comes back first." The children saw each other's face. They hugged each other, went together, hugged the tree, and shouted Ubuntu, Ubuntu, and came back, and all of them collected the prize. So that is the basis of the Ubuntu principle, which is universally known, which says together we can achieve. So that is one of the roots which has been imbibed from this particular Veda. Thank you, Murthy Garu, for reciting it so beautifully. And as I said, I'm not competent enough to talk about this subject as such because it's so deep. But even then, I thought I'll just give a. I'll give
It is in
give
fact a bit longer. I
Yeah.
made it short and
I know.
just recited
That's
a
why I just gave only the first line.
short. Yeah.
I just go ahead. The Yajurveda. Yajurveda is one of the four Vedas and holds a special place in the spiritual heritage. The Yajurveda, while the Rig Veda is chiefly a collection of hymns, the Yajurveda focuses on the rituals and the ritual formulae, the sacrificial instructions, and the sacred vows. The Yajurveda mainly is about Agni, the sacrificial aspect of the Vedic ceremonies. Its name originates from Yajus, meaning a sacrificial text or invocation, and it reflects the deep connection between action, devotion, and discipline in Vedic tradition. The Yajurveda reminds us that worship is not only a prayer; it is also a right. But also in right conduct, reverence, and purposeful action. Really, it's such a beautiful thing, and all these verses are so deep in meaning, and it requires a guru to literally sit and train us in all these lines. Its importance lies in the way it bridges the knowledge and practice. The Yajurveda guides priests and seekers in performing yajnas with precision, purity, and inner awareness. It sort of awakens us to go to a next level of deep contemplation. It is not merely about external ritual, it also teaches the true value of sacrifice. Sacrifice is the spirit of surrender, where one offers the ego, the desire, and the ignorance into the fire of wisdom. So this is just like what we do in the Bogi festival times, wherein we discard the old things, and it's a symbolic of this, where we discard the ego, the desire, and awaken the spirit within us. In this sense, the Yajurveda remains meaningful even today, as it inspires discipline, gratitude, self control, and harmony with not only ourselves but also with the cosmos overall. Among its key teachings are the principles that duty should be performed with devotion, not that we simply go to the temple and simply visit back. Rama Nama Mani Deepadaru Jeebade Haridwar Kaha Murka Kaha Pandita Do. That's the famous Doha also on this. So it should be performed with devotion. Truth should guide action, and the divine is to be approached with humility. A well-known central idea from Yajurveda is the prayer of wholeness and peace. In the crux, it is Purnam Madaha Purnam Midam. I'll tell the whole this thing also as we follow, expressing that Supreme is complete, and from that completeness, all completeness arises. That is, another important message is that every action should be aligned with the Dharma, so that outer rights and inner awakening support each other. Thus, the Yajurveda is both a manual of sacred action and profound spiritual text. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Ivavaste Vasiste, meaning that is complete, this is complete. From completeness, completeness arises. Even when completeness is taken away from completeness, completeness still remains. which looks confusing, but this is the concept of infinity in mathematics. You take away anything from infinity, it still remains as infinity. That is the way this has come up. So, Purnam is completeness. The completeness is what is the ultimate out here. Completeness arises from this. So one more famous thing is the Ishavasya Upanishad. When I come to the Upanishads part, I'll be explaining this in detail. One of my favorites. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkinchi jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjita magruda pashyadanam. Meaning, all this is pervaded by the divine. Almighty is one, and be it in any religion, there is one Almighty, only one God. Enjoy life through renunciation and detachment. Leave everything, because alone we have come to this earth and alone we shall leave. So, renunciation and detachment, and do not covet what belongs to others. In Bible, in Christianity, the 10 Commandments are also based on this principle, based on this aspect. And one more thing is the ultimate Om Shanti 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 is the request for peace, peace and peace, peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in the spirit, and peace in the entire world around us. So this is what even Christians pray as in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's how this comes, I believe. I may be wrong in that also, but this is how it is going. The Ayurveda ultimately teaches that sacred life is not separate from daily life. We are all intermingled and intertwined in it. It calls us to act with awareness, live with purity, and see every offering as a path to the divine. It's in this, its beauty lies in the idea that divine can be approached through song, contemplation, and inner upliftment. There is a sorry, I missed for something of this. I've gone to the song already. Sorry, it just got skipped. I'm sorry for that. It calls for to act with awareness, live with purity, and see every offering as a path to the divine. Its words continue to shine as a source of wisdom, discipline, and the inner peace. So this is in a nutshell about the Yajurveda. We come to the Samaveda. Samaveda is also known as the Veda of melody, devotion, and sacred chanting. This is one Veda which is transforming the hymns of the Rig Veda into music, showing that spirituality can express not only through words but also through rhythm, harmony, and sound. In Vedic tradition, the Samaveda is deeply associated with Udgatri, or the priests who sing its mantras in the daily rituals, be it in the temples or in the invocation of various ritual ceremonies like in the royal kingdom or even in marriages. Its beauty lies in the idea that divine can be approached through song, contemplation, and our inner upliftment. The importance of Samaveda is so immense that it reveals the power of the voice, the vibration in the virtual life, and the rhythm with which it penetrates through the inner core of our mind, with which we sort of attain a total different sort of peace in and around us. It teaches us that sacred sound can calm the mind, elevate the consciousness, and create a sense of unity between us and the cosmos, the Brahmanda. If we see the great people in deep meditation, they even talk of levitation. That is, they don't know what they have been doing. They have the capability to lift themselves above the earth against the gravitational force, and that much power they get in such deep meditations. And they are so much in sync with the cosmos that they are able to do all these things. The Samaveda also reflects the Vedic belief that music itself is a form of worship. For this reason, it is called the Veda of chants and is considered foundational to the classic tradition Indian music. It is from this, I believe, that the Veda, various Natya Shastra or Natya Kala, be it Bharatanatyam, Odissi, Kuchipudi, or Kathakali, all have been originated and is a part and parcel of our rich cultural heritage. It is not only a ritual text but also inspires the inner stillness. Its chants are often used to invoke blessings, purification, and we sort of enjoy a real bliss. There is a balance between peace and devotion. And in this aspect, I have a book called Awakening the Spirit Within. And this is also based on simple, mundane, daily aspects with which the rhythm of life can be obtained, and discovering the inner peace, enhancing the emotional grace, and gain clarity of thought and enjoy our daily lives. Being a grihastha or at home. So this is about the awakening of the spirit, which is one of my famous books. Um, Here are the following associated mantras linked with the Samaveda. The very meaning of Om, which is so deep, reverberating, and is called the Pranav mantra, which has been explained by Lord Kartikeya to Lord Shiva. It is a primordial sacred sound representing the ultimate reality and the essence of all the creations in this world. And then there is one more famous thing called the Agni Mele Prohitam, meaning I raise Agni again. The god of Agni, the fire, is being invoked, one of the Panchabhutas, which I've been talking about. I praise Agni, the priest and divine messenger who leads the sacrifice. Tad Vishnoha Paranam Padam means that is the supreme abode of Vishnu, the greatest spiritual, which is the ultimate goal in another sort of verse. The Samaveda continues to inspire the world by reminding us that sacred sound can lift the heart, refine the mind, open the soul to peace. And it is the Veda of music. In fact, I have read a lot of literature wherein Vedas, this particular Samaveda, is helpful when recited to patients in sort of a coma stage to revert them. There have been lucid examples about this. There are people who are said to have been come back from coma by hearing this Samaveda. So it has a lot of medical significance also as well, and it's called musical therapy, which is one of the famous things which is being used abroad. I have one more book called the What Sutra, which is the effect of time. It is not about, this book is not about time management. It is a book about rediscovering the gift of time which we have and how usefully we can utilize it for the benefit of mankind. Next, we come to the Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is the fourth Veda and holds a unique place in the Vedic tradition. Unlike other Vedas, which focuses more on sacrifice, ritual sacrifice, and liturgical aspects and chanting, the Atharva Veda reflects the practical side of life. It includes hymns, prayers, and chants, and reflects related to health, protection, daily well-being, and spiritual life. Dhanvantari is supposed to be pleased by this particular, the goddess of medicine and cure, is supposed to be pleased by this particular Veda, and because of this, feels especially close to the ordinary human being and concerns with everyday experience. This is about a bit of Atharva Veda. Its importance lies in its broad vision of life. Atharva Veda speaks not only about the divine, but also about healing, peace, harmony, and protection from negative forces or the evil forces which are bound to be there, which are also visible. So it contains prayers of good health, success, domestic peace, and social welfare. In this way, it teaches that spirituality is not separate from life struggles. The Atharva Veda also contains deep philosophical ideas alongside its practical hints. It explores questions about creation. It explores questions about time, the consciousness of time, and the nature of reality. If you see the pundits prescribing the exact time of the particular muhurta, all these are related with the Atharva Veda's influence in which they calculated all these aspects. It makes it This makes it both a text of daily life and a text of spiritual depth. It reminds us that human beings not need not only it brings need not only the ritual and devotion but also healing courage and insight. Its verses are valued for their ability to inspire, balance, courage, and protect. These are the detailed literature which I've collected from various sources which I thought of sharing. There are few associated mantras from the Atharva Veda with transliteration and meaning. Bhumi Sukta, which again is one of the Panchabhutas, the earth. Matha Bhumi Putro Ham Prithvyaha, the earth is my mother and I am the child of the earth. This expresses the deep reverences for the planet and all life. It is believed that the recent earthquakes in the ring of fire which is happening all around the world has some effect, maybe a Bhumi Sukta or a deep prayer by professional Atharva Vedic gurus might help influence and retard the after effects of these uh, earthquakes. There's a prayer for peace. Samano Mitraha, Samavarnaha Mitraha is the sun. May Mitra be peaceful to us. May Varuna be peaceful to us. Other rain gods, may they give protection, harmony, and peace. So these are different types of prayers, which is a part of the well-being as well as in a societal manner, benefit for the all, and uh, synchronized living with the cosmos. The prayer for healing. We all have had blessings from our elders. Ayushman Bhava, Chiranjeevi Bhava, Dirga Swangali Bhava, and all these are meaning that may you be blessed with long life and vitality. All these are outcomes from the Atharva Veda. The Atharva Veda is beautiful because it brings sacred wisdom into the realities of human life. It teaches that healing, peace, and spiritual strength are all part of this sacred journey, the journey within, with which we can awaken ourselves and awaken the Kundalini. Its verses continue to offer comfort, the rhythm soothes our heart, the protection, and the vision of life lived in harmony with self, with the society, and with, of course, with the divine. There we come to the other last two parts, the Brahmanas and Aranyakas. The Brahmanas are a group of prose texts in Vedic literature which explain the rituals, the sacrifices, and the ceremonial practices mentioned in the Vedas. While Samhitas contains the hymns and mantras, the Brahmanas focus on how these mantras are used for actual worship. They are well written for the priests basically because Vedic religion placed great importance on performing rituals in the correct way. In this sense, the Brahmanas serve like detailed ritual manuals, but they are more than just instruction books. They are guidelines for all of us to follow. The central concern of Brahmanas is yajna or sacrifice. These texts describe in detail the proper procedure for different sacrifices. Which priest should perform which role, what materials are used, when what is to be done, what chants should be recited, and the sequence in which every action must occur. The idea was that a ritual was effective only if it is carried with complete precision. This emphasis reflects an important Vedic belief that the universe is sustained by a cosmic order, and we have to follow that meticulous order, obey and respect it for living harmony and peaceful in a peaceful manner. The Brahmanas also try to explain the meaning and symbolism behind rituals. A fire altar, example the Parsis. The fire altar, for example, was not seen as a physical structure. It represents the universe, the time, or even the human body. Offerings into the sacred fire were understood as acts that connected earthly life with divine powers. Because of this, the Brahmanas show that ritual was not merely mechanical. Every act, object, and word carried a very, very deep significance, and the text often interprets ceremonies through myths, symbolic associations, and theological ideas. A famous example is the Shatapada Brahmana associated with the Yajurveda. It is one of the most important and extensive Brahmana texts. It explains major rituals in great detail, including fire sacrifices and royal ceremonies. 1 minute. It also contains philosophical reflections and mythological stories. The Shatapada Brahmana is especially valuable because it shows the Vedic thought began to move from external ritual towards a deeper questions about meaning, order, and reality, and awakens the inner part more prominently in the Upanishads. We come to the Aranyakas. Aranya, we all have heard about the different Aranya Khandas in Hanuman Chalisas and forest life is also known as the forest treaties, and especially the humans in the sannyasa phase reach the forest for attaining total moksha, in other words, awakening the inner self. They form an important bridge between the ritual focus of the Brahmanas and the philosophical reflections of the Upanishads. While Brahmanas explain the outward performance, the Aranyakas begin to explore the inner meaning of these rituals. In this way, they mark a shift of Vedic thought from external action to deeper contemplation. So, in other words, these texts, which are mainly for the hermits or ascetics in the forest or the forest dwellers, are more spiritual and have a deeper understanding of existence. Instead of concentrating only on the correct method of sacrifice, Aranyakas ask what the ritual means and how it relates to the cosmos, the self, and helps in seeking the ultimate truth. A major feature of the Aranyakas is the movement from the outer ritual to the inner reflection. The outerly there is the agri, homa, and all those things, but how it inwardly transforms us. For example, the fire sacrifice may be interpreted not as a physical act, but as a symbol of inner discipline, breath control, knowledge, or spiritual transformation. This makes Aranyakas especially significant because they show the transition of Vedic literature into philosophical inquiry. They prepare the ultimate ground for the more abstract ideas based on which the Upanishads are subsequently formed. In many cases, the Aranyakas were appended by the Brahmanas, meaning they were attached to them as a later section. This attachment reflects the connection to ritual literature, even though their purpose is more reflective and inward looking. A well known example is the Aitreya Aranyaka, linked with the Rig Veda. Overall, the Aranyakas represent a thoughtful shift in Indian religious literature where the meaning of ritual begins to matter as much as the ritual itself. With this, I conclude today's session. You can reach me at smuralius.my and feel free to view my books and buy my books at this particular link. All my 40 books are available in this particular link. relinks.me/Swaminathan Murali. A big thank you for your patient hearing today, and I am glad that today I have just published a book called The Metacognition. Metacognition is nothing but the thought process of thinking. What makes us think what we are thinking? It's a deep philosophical one again. That's why I tried to symbolize the brain and the thought process along with the focus point of the Kutashta Chaitanya out in this book. You have to break free from overthinking and the mental traps and master your mind and transform your life. That is the motto. It is available in.
Thank you, Murali, for such an
thank you.
insightful and thought-provoking lecture on philosophy.
Thank you.
Actually, you have presented some of the profound ideas in such a simple and engaging way.
Yes,
So
these are
we
all
are,
there. Yeah.
yeah. So we appreciate your knowledge and wonderful, simply. Thank you again.
Thank you. Grateful to you. Grateful to you. Very, very grateful to you.
Murali covered the Indian philosophy mostly. Yeah, and out of that Indian philosophy, it is covered mostly the Hindu philosophy.
No,
There are
we,
Buddhist philosophy and the Jainist philosophy also in India. Of
yeah,
course,
everything is covered in these Vedas and impact.
yeah. But it is a very vast and you are covered. And of course, there is some similarity with the Western philosophy also, but there are little differences. And really appreciated your vast knowledge and your presentation.
Yeah, I've tried to
Super.
collate everything into such a simple snippet and presentable form. Especially, I told Vedas, thanks to Murthy Garu for so precisely reciting these Vedas and real Pandit in this in our group, and hats off to you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will post
Thank
this
you so much.
recording in this group, so you
Okay.
can later on you can watch.
Yeah.
Surely. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thanks a lot.
much.
Thank you.
For elaborate
Yeah, next week I'll
explanation
try
on
to take up.
Vedas.
I'll try to take up Upanishads, give a brief about the Upanishads, various Upanishads, and come on. Good evening, Sridharan. Nice to see you here in this group.
Thank you,
Sridharan is
Mr.
my
Murali.
colleague from Bits Pilani.
Mr. Murali, it was a wonderful, as always, it has been a wonderful insights, deep insight that you have provided us. And this is something that we do not hear very often in public lectures. I mean, I think this is a rarity where you have combined everything and given the whole thing in a single capsule so that we are able to appreciate in totality. And though we as listeners would have listened to the Swamijis and others in their discourses, I think this integrates the whole, all the five Vedas and connects us to the basic Aham Brahmasmi concept very well. We look forward to listening to you more on this so that we can dwell, as you rightly titled, deep within. We can go into the journey well within inside, and then instead of searching for reality outside, we need to go deep within. Thank you, Mr. Murali, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Sridhar. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Hope to catch up next week.
Thank you, Murali. Thank you so much.
Paswati Anna is here, one of the
explanation
of
on
Gurujis.
all four Vedas.
Yeah.
It's really good. And in fact, the text what you go through gives a general a perception of Vedas which are valid for all.
Yeah,
valid for all. Not particular to any group or not particular to anyone. That's really good, great. And you have really enhanced our knowledge by deeply explaining each Veda, what it covers, and it's good. And the presentation comes in WhatsApp group. I would like to go through that once again.
That's true.
And make it more clear on my mind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Paswati Anna,
Pasupati,
you're on mute. 1 minute. Let's hear to Paswati Anna.
Yes.
Please unmute. Yeah, please unmute.
Sorry. Yes.
Anna, your blessings are required. I don't know.
It is very nice. First time I'm hearing you. It's very good. Thank you, Murali. God bless you.
Thank you, Murali.
Thank you so much.
You're a pioneer in
Thank you
this
so
field
much.
with the books. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
we'll
sir,
meet
yes.
again on next Wednesday.
Yes.
Thank you, one and all.
Good
Thank you for
night.
your
Thank
patience.
you, Murali. Good night. Good night to all of you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good wishes. Yeah. Thank you. Good night.